You almost caught me, but I wasn't head deep in my mug of coffee, although it is a wonderful cup of coffee for a Monday morning. And I hope that you have your hot beverage in front of you and enjoying your morning, as much of an oxymoron that may sound. Now, last week on Monday Morning Cup of Joe, we talked about happiness in the workplace and not to get caught up so deeply in the errors. And this segment is talking about the fear of failure. We cannot afford to fear failure. Failure brings us new ideas if we take advantage of it. If we think of, okay, I made a mistake, and as a leader, we take responsibility for our mistakes. We own up to, hey, team, I made a mistake. Oftentimes, we fail to follow that up with, and I need your help. Because oftentimes leaders need the help of their people. But we need to solicit that help. And you know what? When you have that collaboration with your team, when you have that relationship, that positive relationship with the people on your team, people are going to want to say, what can we do? How can we help? And that's a good feeling. So when we talk about failure, my opinion or my experience of failure is failure doesn't happen until you quit. And that's a failure. But when you are able to brush your knees off, get back into the race, that's not failure. It may be a setback, but it's not failure. As long as we take the time for what were the lessons learned as a result of experiencing that mistake, right? To err is human. So you're human just like everybody else. You're going to make mistakes, but what can we learn by those mistakes? And I always journalize those things. And I'll go back and say, oh man, this is the second time I experienced this. What did I think of last time that I would have done differently this time? So that I don't have to make that mistake again. And super important, like last episode, I was talking about thinking out loud with your employees. If an employee makes a mistake, you go out there, you're next to them, not to beat them up over it, but to be a partner with them, sit side by side, not across from each other. And you sit side by side and say, okay, look, okay, this is a setback, there's no doubt, but what could we have done differently? And I always I have a tendency to go with the word we, because it's not accusatory. What did you do wrong? Look, they know that they made a mistake. We don't need to bury their nose in it. It serves no purpose. It gets us stuck. It's a sticking point. So to break through that sticking point, we say, what can we do different next time that will help us avoid this from happening again? And so we're thinking out loud. We're thinking with the proper perspective, the perspective of recovery and performance into the future. And so we want to get them thinking the same way, so that when they make a mistake, they're like, oh, setback. Okay, what can I do differently? How can I fix this? And what can I do differently in the future to make sure that I avoid this mistake from happening again? Super important. Fail forward. Make mistakes. You're going to anyway. But you know what? Nothing significant has come from staying within the comfort zone. We have to take a certain amount of risk, which means there's a certain level of potential for error, right? But don't let it stagnate you. Don't let it get you stuck. Ask yourself, what can I do differently? Great leaders always own up to their mistakes, and they're not afraid to ask for help if they need it. And that will teach their team the same perspective and mentality and mindset that they need to fully succeed. And those other failures are simply mistakes. They don't fail until they quit. And that is our Monday Morning Cup of Joe. I want you to think about that. When you're in your office or out on the floor and someone's made a mistake, you rush to their side and you partner up with them and you say, you know what? It's okay. It's a setback, but let's talk about how we can move forward and learn by our mistakes. Have a great week, and I will see you Wednesday for After the Coffee. Enjoy your week and enjoy your cup of Joe. You should get hired for a coffee commercial. Have a great week. Lead well.